Here we have Donald the God.
Oh, the God. Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was in here.
Hello.
Talking to the other guys in the call-ins. Nice guys you have.
Wonderful. I have a decent little community.
Anyway, so how does it go? Do I just say what I want to talk about, or do you do what?
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. You know, it's a call-in show, so you call in and you ask me what you want to talk about. Is this Cspace?
Yeah. I don't use that name though when I go in Discord because I have a bad habit of mods ban me before I get into the show, even though the person said they want to talk to me.
I do know that name.
Oh, okay.
Is Cspace an infamous individual?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I get riled up because everyone kind of like pokes and jabs at me because I'm a conservative before I come on, and then like with Demon Mama and stuff, they yell over you, they talk over you, and it goes into blood sport really quick. But I just wanted to have a conversation because I know you're a foreign policy guy.
Yeah, sure. I'm a big foreign policy guy. I do want to ask you though, because this is deathly curious. I'm deathly curious about this. So
yeah.
I remember recently, oh no, it was about in December. There was you sent me a DM, right? And you were like, "Hello, I would like to come on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable," or something like that, right?
Yes.
And literally 5 minutes after you sent me the DM, you were telling people in your comments section, and this is literally 5 minutes, that hello, Dylan Burns has denied me coming on Hippy Dippy Roundtable because he's scared of my facts and logic or whatever, and I didn't even see your DM.
Now I'll say this, all right? We're all guilty of it. We drum for our audience, you know? I got some guys, they want to see me, go on these shows, and I thought it was a long shot contacting you. But I spoke to everyone. It seems like you're pretty quick to just talk to people. So, you know, I think I edited that, or I agreed that I will take that statement down since it was incorrect. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay, I was sad to inform you though that we do have while you are technically a content creator because you have a YouTube channel, you do need a camera to get on the show. So sadly, there's not, unless you get one of those, there was not going to be a Hippy Dippy Cspace crossover. I'm sorry, I'm sad to say.
That's okay. I'm satisfied to call in because I'm not here to do blood sports and all that crap because you seem like a nice guy and everyone I've talked to has put me in a pretty good mood. Okay. So what I wanted to ask about, if it's okay to get into that, is what you think about U.S.-China relations, and is it concerning at all that basically they're providing us with 30% of our PPE? They control almost 8,500 movie screen theaters. You know, does this ever bother you, or is it like, gee, why does China have so much control over our life, especially once Biden took over?
Especially when Biden took over?
Well, Donald Trump was very hard on China, as we know. You know, he had even if
record.
Even if you think it wasn't the most effective, he at least did the service of fighting back China on many things, you know. And with Biden, I can't say the same.
So Biden's been in office for 2 to 3 weeks, so he doesn't had any opportunities to really fight China. He hasn't even really had private meetings with Xi or anything. But ever since Biden's gotten office, everything he's done in reference to China, in my opinion, has been very positive. Literally during his inauguration, he invited what is essentially the Taiwanese ambassador to his inauguration. Which this happened very frequently under Trump's administration as well, when Chinese fighters broke Taiwanese airspace so they could probe at their defenses. He did an immediate rejection of it. Joe Biden's also famous for being part of the administration that started our most successful strategic policy in the Pacific, which is freedom of navigation operations, which is quite literally taking our carriers or our ships and flying and putting them straight through the South China Sea, declaring to the international community these are international waters and we reject your claims. To say that Joe Biden's not going to be strong on China or not going to be tough on China when he has all of that and decades of more experience on foreign policy than Donald Trump, it's hard for me to see a transfer from Donald Trump to Joe Biden and really have any concern whatsoever.
Sure. Okay. I personally, I'm upset about Joe Biden. You know, I think it was an illegitimate election, so I don't follow too much on that.
An illegitimate election.
Yes, an illegitimate election. But what do you think about China's use of lean meat powder, which, they've been using this group of black market additives like clenbuterol, which is asthma medication, to make their meat products leaner, and we're still trading with them. Don't you think we should step up on that and do something about that? They're just putting medicine in the meat.
I'm not a food expert or an expert on meat production, or medicine, so I can't really comment on the powdered meat, whatever.
And aluminum in the dumplings too.
Aluminum in the dumplings.
Yeah, I have a citation. Sorry, I can't click and hit Alt at the same time.
I am not familiar with aluminum dumplings. This is the first I've heard of aluminum dumplings.
I'm gonna send you a DM.
It sounds kind of like a punk band, to be completely honest.
It's a punk band, but you don't want to eat it, do you?
I mean, I don't know. It sounds kind of badass.
Well, I sent you the link.
Hello, New York, we're aluminum dumplings, and then they fucking, get into it.
Yeah, it makes it more aerodynamic. You can fly with those dumplings.
They're saving money though by putting tinfoil on the dumplings, which kind of sucks, I think. So I would like to do a little more about that. But also, I want to know, how much time do I have? Is this casual, or because I need to know what speed do I take?
Look, we don't have a ton of callers today, so I'm fine talking to you. But I did want to ask you, if we're doing the ask it back and forth. Are you familiar with Donald Trump's private comments about the Xinjiang region, where there's a genocide currently going on, cultural genocide?
So I'm always very cautious as to take what the mainstream media says about what Donald Trump's statements were, because they've been taken out of context a lot.
What about his own staff?
His own staff has also been known to slander him and kind of say things.
So what about Donald Trump's own words?
It depends on if those were his words, but I will hear it.
Okay. So the thing is, this is what has been reported, and I do probably believe that this is something he would say. Now, there is no audio recording of this, but this is true of most presidential conversations, is what's reported on what most presidents say. But I'm not a man who has a lot of respect for an individual named John Bolton, but I do have his book, and I have, gone through it. I haven't finished reading it because it's quite a large book, and I've been quite busy.
I know Bolton. He's very full of himself. It doesn't surprise me he'd write a giant book.
Well, I mean, it was actually a pretty good book from everything I've read so far.
Yeah, but still, it was giant, like you said. He probably had a lot of rambling to do. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I would ask you probably read the book first before you dig into it,
I don't like John Bolton as a person, all right? So it's just like if a pedophile wrote a book, I'd probably be like, probably not a great book.
I don't know if we should be comparing John Bolton to a pedophile. I mean, I'm not a John Bolton fan, but
so a murderer then.
I mean, if we're gonna be comparing people to pedophiles, I mean, like, doesn't Donald Trump like friends with Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't want to get into that. Donald Trump. I've said it before. Donald Trump was going undercover. He was working with the CIA the entire time. There's a reason.
With the CIA?
Yes, he was working with the CIA. He was one of the first people who sold Jeffrey Epstein out. He basically went to that island, made a report, and then never went there again.
Is there any public evidence of this report? Is there, as the CIA spoke up about this? I mean, if he was president of the United States, he obviously had access to a lot of files. Why wouldn't he have declassified information to basically show that he was the hero who busted the sex ring?
See, because all that information is pretty available from Donald Trump's interviews and what he said about it.
So he said, like, hello, I busted it up. I did that.
In so many words. So basically his actions spoke louder than his words on that one, which was basically that he was one of the first people to indict, or to not indict, but to say Jeffrey Epstein, bad guy, Well,
it's real easy to call your friends bad after the fact. But I mean, he was literally with Jeffrey Epstein at parties, pointing at young women saying, "Oh, look how hot that one is. Look how hot that one is." There's footage of this and the audio of this. This is not secret information.
No,
that was all undercover.
Yeah, I would say so, probably.
But there's not really any is there any reports on this? Any primary sources?
The primary source would be Trump himself.
So he said that I went undercover, or what did he?
He didn't say that he went undercover, probably because he didn't think to say it. But at the time, he was one of the first people to.
He didn't think to say it. He could have said it after the fact.
Yeah, but he's also like president, and
So he
this
just
stuff
forgot.
comes
He
up a
just
lot.
forgot that he was part of a CIA operation. It just passed his mind.
It's not that he was a part of a CIA operation. It's more that he supported the CIA through their operation. So he wasn't like a government agent or anything like that at the time. So it probably just got lost in all the other drama, between the two ice cream
So
scoops and all that stuff.
so him busting up a secret crime ring with Jeffrey Epstein, the world's most famous pedophile, he just kind of forgot it, and it got lost up in the ice cream stories.
I mean, it could have. He probably could have said
It
something.
could
And
have. This is a lot of could have, should have,
Hold
would
on.
have.
What I'm saying is like I've seen the stuff that said that he was the first guy to condemn Jeffrey Epstein. That basically he very willingly sent all that stuff to the FBI. And what I'm saying is that it was most likely that he tried to mention it or talk about it if it came up. But also, there's a huge aspect to it. As a content creator, when people create rumors about you, you don't necessarily always just address it immediately. Like the proof is in the pudding there, and the pudding, you can just look it up.
Well, I mean, he's in his 70s though. There's a thing about like not addressing it immediately, but it's been quite a long time, like a very long. Like Jeffrey is dead. He's in his 70s, and now he's no longer president. He could do it at any point, and he just hasn't.
But most people already acknowledge that he was one of the people who brought Epstein down. So therefore, there's really no reason to say it again for the 30 or 20% of people.
Wait. What you're talking about is a CIA operation where Donald Trump was a CIA operative that was working undercover to bring Jeffrey Epstein down. There's been no reports on this. There's nothing, no primary sources on this. This is all kind of woulda, coulda, shoulda, and speculation.
Yeah, but then it would be the same to say that he was like friends with Epstein and doing all this bad stuff, Like,
I mean, he was friends with Epstein.
He
was. That's not like a. I'm not saying he did anything with Epstein. There's allegations he did anything with Epstein. I don't have any like physical proof of it. I do have physical proof of him on video footage pointing at extremely young women, saying, "Ooh, look how hot that one is, and how hot that one is." There's literally. There's almost nothing more condemning of how close you are to Jeffrey Epstein than you ogling women with Jeffrey Epstein.
Look, there's a whole aspect of that. Like, imagine you yourself are like exposing someone who is a pedophile, and this stuff is going to be on tape. You point at like a baby or something, and they look at it. That's something that you have on them. That's like an additional point of proof.
But I also think Donald Trump, being someone who really cares about his appearance, wouldn't just be pointing at babies saying, "Oh, doesn't that baby look good?" That isn't something he would do. But
not a baby, but a girl in this case. But you know what I mean? Like he was baiting Epstein, I think.
Is there any evidence of that?
The fact that he sold Epstein out to the FBI like really quickly.
That's not evidence of him being part of a CIA op. If most people look, I have a lot of good friends. If someone come to me now and was like, "Hello, that person you're friends with, he's a pedophile. Tell me all you know about him." 99% of people would say literally everything that they could to get.
So my thing is this, right? So I know you say he's not a part of the CIA op, or he wasn't a CIA operative, and
because there's no evidence of that whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. However, Dylan, if I call the police on someone who's committing a crime, I have still turned them in, correct?
Was he the one who originally called the police and said this guy?
He was one of the first people. So, but I need you to admit to that. Yes.
Wait. Okay. Give me a moment. Donald Trump reports Jeffrey Epstein to authorities, right? It wasn't. So he like saw something and he reported it, is what you're saying.
Sorry. Yes. That's essentially what I'm saying, is that he waited until he had enough evidence, and then he was one of the first people to take down Epstein.
He's a lot of fun to be with. Inside Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's epic.
No, the others. No. You can find it.
How is Jeffrey Epstein connected to Donald Trump? That's a different article. I could find something where he banned him from Mar-a-Lago, but that's
what I'm talking about.
Wait, banning him from Mar-a-Lago and calling the cops and saying, "Here's all the evidence that this guy's a pedophile," is two different things.
It is, but they often go together. That's much like a husband and a wife having a loud argument before a domestic dispute.
You told me that Jeffrey Epstein was reported to the authorities, and I clarified, and I asked you a clarifying question, by Donald Trump. That Donald Trump basically called the cops up, was like, "Hey, Jeffrey Epstein's a pedophile. go get him, and that's what brought him down.
Right.
And you also suggested it was a CIA op, which we both admitted now there's no evidence for. But what it really is that Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago, not after all because of the pedophilia, but because he hit on people's daughters.
For now, okay, look, the issue here, well, first of all, he hit on people's daughters and he got banned. So if you need any more proof that like Donald Trump was against that, that's already one thing. But the problem here is that I'm using, we're using Google. Internet's going to provide what it wants to provide. I need to find this stuff and I will send it to you in the future. How does that sound?
If you can find me evidence of Donald Trump being part of a large-scale CIA operation to bring down Jeffrey Epstein, I'd like to see
How about that
it.
he helped the CIA?
Well, what do you mean help the CIA? Like they came to him and asked him questions, or that he like went to the CIA? Because that's two totally different things.
To include all of that, I'm telling you.
Let me put it this way: let's say I was friends with somebody and they ended up being a horrible, butchering, pedophile slaughterer, right? Just the worst person imaginable. They're also part of the Klan, and then the CIA comes to me and it's like, "Hey, that person you're friends with." And that person you like ogled people with and, did all these things with and were friends with, they're actually a pedophile, horrible, racist slaughterer. What can you tell me about them? That is not the same as being as like part of a massive CIA operation to take someone down. That's just being interviewed.
I think that's a matter of perspective and opinion, but
okay, but I think that what was being suggested was like he was some like CIA operative, like he was working undercover to like bring Jeffrey Epstein down. When all that happened is like authorities asked him.
I feel like that's kind of assumed based on my part, but if that's not, yeah, like
so it's assumed that he's a CIA operative.
I didn't say he was a CIA operative though. That was kind of taken out of the words that I said that he aided the CIA.
So this just feels like wordplay though.
But it's not. Like my whole thing, okay, here's my point, right? Donald Trump aided the FBI, CIA, whatchamacallit, to get rid of Jeffrey Epstein. He did that by testifying against him before most other people did. He also banned him from Mar-a-Lago once he found out that Jeffrey Epstein was acting completely inappropriate toward people at Mar-a-Lago. Therefore, it can be concluded that Donald Trump was against what Jeffrey Epstein did because he turned on the man and put him in prison, and then he got killed. Fair?
I don't think he turned against him because he was against what he did. We don't know for sure. All we know is that he was asked questions by authorities, and he banned him, not because of the pedophilia, but because he probably hurt his business, because if you hit on people's daughters, that's going to hurt business.
But if he was talked to by the FBI and the authorities, and then Jeffrey Epstein went to prison, we can probably conclude that Donald Trump said
Was Donald Trump the only person that they talked to?
I'm sure they spoke to other people.
Did the FBI say that Donald Trump brought him down?
The Democrats and people like Ghislaine Maxwell that Epstein also hung out around probably said he was a great guy.
Well, yeah, but so how do we know that Donald Trump didn't say he was a great guy?
Because Donald Trump condemns him.
Well, now after the fact, because everyone knows he's a pedophile, literally everyone would condemn him. His own children would condemn him.
No, I'm sure there are people out there that wouldn't condemn him and would say that he had, he can't help it and he has rights.
Donald Trump would pass the barrier of credibility and honor of after the fact, after he's been outed by a pedophilia and is dead, saying he's a bad person. Like 99% of everyone.
You're saying that like it's crazy or something, but like I'm saying
but no, I'm not.
Actually, what happened?
Well, yeah, but that's everyone. If you asked me what I thought of Jeffrey Epstein, if you asked Hillary, if you asked Biden, if you asked literally any politician in the world after Jeffrey Epstein's dead and gone, and an outed pedophile, then they're all gonna say, "Yeah, I hate him and I hate pedophilia."
You'd probably say like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. Is today Thursday or Tuesday?" Like there's all kinds of things people will say.
I'm pretty sure he would just say he's pedophile and pedophile.
I don't even think he knows who that is, honestly.
I'm pretty sure he knows who that is. It was a pretty well-known story.
I guess we'll have to find that out then.
Well, I mean,
but my thing is that it's really clear. Donald Trump did the right thing in this case, and now he's being strung up on the show as like, well, we don't know, and he only condemned him after he died. Like, what's the most powerful statement you can make about someone? Is when they're dead, you say like they were a piece of shit.
Well, it's when they're alive and everyone's still friendly with him, saying this guy's a piece of shit, he's a pedophile, and I'm gonna do everything to like that. There's like more you can do.
To me, that feels like the long con, though, to just say like, yeah,
Wait, so you believe the election was fraudulent, and you can believe that there was a massive conspiracy to steal the election from Donald J. Trump, which I don't even want to get into on this stream because I just disagree with you on a fundamental level. I think that's just out of this world. But you're willing to believe. No, you don't. You're willing to believe.
No, I didn't say I made the proof. I said all the proof.
There's no proof.
There was a lot of proof.
There's probably more proof that like Armenian genocide deniers could show me than there is for that Donald Trump stole the election.
I don't know about this Armenian genocide denial, but it's funny that everyone's talking about, Black Lives Matters and all that stuff. Meanwhile, the Haitian immigration crisis was still barely addressed. But that's my own.
What does any of that have to do with what?
Guess I'm just thinking out loud.
Thinking
aloud, yeah.
That's one way to put it. Okay, so back to what I originally was talking about. John Bolton's book, in it, he describes the meetings that Donald Trump has. And a lot of them are very Trumpian, and it's just normal Trump stuff, like how he just talks to people. But one of these meetings was when Donald Trump basically was in a private room with Xi Jinping, and the question of Xinjiang come up. And the thing is, what his security advisors and people would do constantly is be like, okay, Donald, so this thing that's going on, yeah, really bad. Don't support it. Don't do it. They'll just do their best to brief him on what is going on. The problem was with him is that he would hear this and sometimes he'd just throw it out considering the meeting. And in this case, it was one of those instances where he was in this meeting with Xi, and Xi basically explained to him, like, in China, we have a big problem with terrorism. And he's like, terrorism bad. And I know you hate terrorism. And he's like, yeah, I hate terrorism. And then by the end of it, Donald Trump basically said, I mean, at the end of the day, what can we truly say? What can we truly say about this stuff in China? It looks like a great thing. It looks like a great thing's going on. And that's what he said in a closed-door meeting with Xi Jinping. He endorsed it. He endorsed the concentration camps in a closed-door meeting.
So there's like two big things. Number one, we don't know that John Bolton wasn't lying. I'm pretty sure John Bolton was also one of the prodiginators of the Iraq War, who said that they had weapons of mass destruction. Okay, he was lying there, wasn't he? We didn't find anything aside from rocks and scared people.
Didn't Donald Trump also support the Iraq War?
Donald Trump is not John Bolton, though. We're talking about John Bolton.
But wait. But if we're talking about credibility, Donald Trump also supported the Iraq War, right?
He also jokes a lot. He says things.
You think him endorsing the Iraq War was a joke?
No, I'm not saying it was a joke. I'm saying that, like, sometimes he's very braggadocious. He's very out there with what he says. And John Bolton is more seen as like a serious political figure, whereas Donald Trump, would he have a TV show at the time? Like, what does that matter compared to a very high-ranking military leader or someone who has a lot of say over the military, like John Bolton? So what I'm saying there is I don't know about his credibility, but even if we assume what he said was correct, I don't know that Trump had all the information that he needed to truly make that call.
So why did he endorse it then? If we're assuming, because you're assuming, right? And I appreciate you assuming it, but your thing is he didn't have all the information. Well, then wouldn't his statement to be like, well, Mr. Xi, we're still examining the situation. We'll get back to you later.
I think he's great
what you did
people.
Is good.
I think he's great with people. And
so
he endorsed
he endorsed the concentration camps to make Xi feel good.
He maybe told Xi, what you're doing, it's great or whatever, and then he had plans to stop Xi, just like he did with Epstein. I think it's great. Cool, great party you have here. Meanwhile, he's waiting to get rid of the guy, and I think it was the same with Xi and being tough on China and tariffs. He was ready to make that next move. But the thing is, we're never going to know where that goes now. So he's just on record saying he's not on record. I'm sorry. Let me straighten that out. He's not on record, but he was stated to be like, oh yeah, I like genocide. That's good stuff. And then
well, I think he just didn't care that they were being put in camps and that the reasons given to him were enough for him. I don't think he really cares much for Muslims. And basically he heard Muslims being put in camps for terrorism. And he was like, well, makes sense.
I just don't.
That makes a lot more sense to me than the big 50D chess. But I mean, is it really hard to believe that the person who said that we need a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States?
He did not get rid of certain ones, not all of them. He did not cut out the Saudis.
Wait. In that speech, I'm not talking about the Muslim ban, which we can talk about in a second. But in the speech where he endorsed the Muslim ban on the campaign trail, he said a total and complete shutdown of Muslims, not people from this country. He said Muslims from entering the United States until we can figure out what the hell is going on. He wanted to ban Muslims from entering the United States. So, in my opinion, that shows him to be somebody who doesn't have a very friendly opinion of the Muslim community internationally or at home. And so she walks up to him in a private meeting and is like, hey, I heard you heard some stuff about Xinjiang. Well, we just hate terrorism, just like you do. Don't you hate ISIS? You're tough on ISIS, right? Therefore, since you're tough on ISIS and we know how much you hate terrorism, you should be cool with us putting them all in camps. And then he was like, oh, yeah, that sounds good.
So my thing about this is, right, like, and I would like to go into the Muslim ban and all that, but what somebody says and the policy that they put forth are very different things.
Well,
Donald
then he
Trump
went to Rudy Giuliani, though, didn't he, afterwards? And asked for just specifically this?
I don't know about that. I don't want to get into like the nitty gritty. What I want to focus on is like
policy is the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but what actually happened is the true policy.
I can tell you what happened. So what happened was after this, he went up to Rudy Giuliani and asked him how we could do a Muslim ban legally, as in ban Muslims from entering the United States. Then there was an original thing proposed, which was rejected based on religious freedom. Then that was manipulated and changed into being a second version, which included nations like Venezuela, so it didn't just seem like they were just trying to ban Muslims because that would be unconstitutional, and that version got through. So basically, they made a Muslim ban after asking for a Muslim ban to be made, and publicly, and this is statements publicly said by Rudy Giuliani either. This isn't speculation. He said this on primetime Fox News. So all of this happens. He asks for a Muslim ban privately. He proposes one publicly. There's then a draft made up from banning Muslim majority countries. And when that isn't getting through, then he makes a separate version that includes other nations to water it down so that it can get through constitutionally. And that was the ban that was actually put in place. And so he basically did everything possible to legally ban Muslims internationally from coming to the United States that it was within his power.
But we don't know what happened in the background of all that, right? Like he could have been talking to Giuliani.
We don't need to speculate. They said publicly, like Rudy
and
Trump.
So
you think Rudy Giuliani? You think Trump publicly said I want to ban Muslims, and then Rudy Giuliani said publicly, Trump asked me how to do it legally, and but behind closed doors he was like, I actually really like Muslims, and I would not like to ban them.
No. I'm not saying that behind closed doors he said he likes Muslims and all that, but I think he said like.
Do you think he likes Muslims though? Like, I'm asking you.
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know the man. You know, I've never been around him, but I think he personally said like there can be some level of nuance to this. We have to look at a way to do this. You know, and Giuliani, Fox News, they played to Trump's base, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, that's not necessarily what happened.
There's nothing wrong with playing to the base by attacking minority groups.
Well, we can get into the social justice stuff or whatever, but like,
that's not just social justice. I think that's just not banning religious minorities from entering the United States. I think it's just being a decent American.
I don't know.
I mean, this nation was founded on the principle of religious freedom, and he publicly asked for people to be banned from entering the country based on their religious freedom.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like, listen. This whole thing about Trump said publicly, you know, Giuliani said publicly, Fox News reported. I don't even personally trust Fox News. I think they're constantly, you know, they're making Trump look bad. They're saying, you know.
Yeah, Fox News is the liberal media.
Well, they're part of the mainstream media, which shouldn't be trusted. So it's kind of like I have a lying, you know, network saying that like, oh, well, XYZ happened. And it could be VWX for all we know, you know. Could be like a TUV situation where Trump said like, well, what about maybe he's banning some Muslims? And the whole thing is like, we don't really know. And I think it's wrong to crucify someone based on that.
Well, no, we do publicly know because he said it. I mean, what more evidence do we need than him saying we should ban Muslims?
I think if he said it himself on camera.
He did. He said it at a speech on camera, said we should ban Muslims. And then
if he clarified the exact policy that he wants.
He did. He went to Rudy Giuliani, said, I want to ban Muslims legally. How do we do that? Then Rudy Giuliani went publicly and said, this is what the president said to me. He asked me how we could ban Muslims legally. He
And there's a lot
clarified
of
it and then said it.
But there's a telephone game that happens between the president and Congress, Senate, and when they write a policy, oftentimes they slip their own things in. A policy to rebuild a bridge could be to fund a telephone line. Like this stuff gets obfuscated from the source, and because he might have said something to play to his base, on in a microphone or whatever, or to Giuliani, doesn't mean that we don't know that happened, right? Can we like be fair and just say that much?
I've completely lost the track here. Do you just want to move off of this?
Yeah, we could do one more subject.
Okay. So if we want to get back to China, since we were talking about that originally.
You know what? I was thinking we were talking about China, but it's like there's some things on here I'm just throwing at you, and you don't know about the aluminum and the food and the meat and the plants and all that. So
I'm not a food expert. No.
Let's do like a more up the middle, like the coronavirus or something. Like I don't know. You're probably like a big coronavirus guy, right?
What does a big coronavirus guy mean?
Means like all the hype and the mask stuff.
Am I hyping
really
coronavirus up? Like am I its hype guy? No, I'm not a huge fan of coronavirus.
No. What I mean is like, are you like a big? It kills everyone, and you got to wear a mask, and you can't breathe fresh air, or you're gonna get sick.
I do think that wearing a mask has been medically proven by every single respectable institution on the planet that talks about medicine. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
But the thing is,
you're asking about my position, and I'm trying to tell you.
All right.
I think that wearing a mask helps decrease the amount of spread and the speed of spread. It is not an end-all be-all. It's not a magic cure-all. It is just one thing that people can do. And I support that.
Okay. Sorry if I delay sometimes. I'm typing, and I have to press Alt to speak. Anyway, so my thing about masks is you can look at articles or whatever by the CDC who basically at the start of all this said don't wear masks.
Okay.
HWO is saying wear like 3 masks. Meanwhile, you can go on YouTube, you can look at a video of a guy, he's wearing 3 masks, he's standing out in the cold so you can see his breath. He breathes out, masks, the spores go everywhere. Like we're not going to avoid this stuff.
Okay, so
I've had COVID.
Sorry to hear that. So I would say that
it's a good point, right? Like it's something to think about.
It's certainly something to look at. So when we talk about COVID and what the CDC said originally, if I'm completely honest, and I'm saying this in the most polite way possible, I don't really care what they said 10 or 12 months ago. I care what they said, what their most recent designations were as professional experts on the situation.
And they're lying again.
Well, listen to me, right? Do you believe the Earth is round?
Sure.
Sure or yes?
I don't know. Sure. Like
I
don't
like,
care. I don't
no,
care. It doesn't matter. Like
wait, no. I'm asking you if the Earth is round or flat. This is an easy question to answer, right?
It's global.
I meant like round. Like a circle.
I guess. Like, yeah. Why?
What do you mean? I'm asking you a simple
Why are you
yes.
asking me if the Earth is round, dude?
Because I'm about to connect this to this, but you haven't answered my question. I'm asking you a simple question: is the Earth round? Yes or no?
Sure, I guess.
No, you're saying sure. That's not a yes or no. I'm asking you yes or no. Is the Earth round? I'm so confused. Why is this so? Just yes or no? Right? Okay, you got 2 options, right? It's like
sure, it's round. It's real round.
That's not. Why are you laughing? Yes or no? I'm asking yes or no question. Is the Earth round?
I don't know. Yeah. Like, what are you? Is this a gotcha? Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not a gotcha. I'm asking. It's not a gotcha. It's not a gotcha. I'm trying to.
This is like the CIA thing, man. This is unfair.
This is not. How is this the CIA thing? I'm just asking you a simple question: if the Earth is round or not.
Yeah. The Earth is round.
Okay. So, but the professionals used to think that the Earth was flat, right?
Well, which professionals?
Well, a lot of professionals.
They used to think the sun rotated around the Earth too.
Yeah. Yes. So professionals, once they learned new information, they changed their scientific diagnosis on the Earth being flat, the Earth being the center of the universe, a lot of things, right? They had to change their diagnosis because they figured out like, oh, all this new
'Cause they
information.
lied.
No, it's not because they lied. It's because they didn't have the information to. So, for example, let's say that there was a car and it looked red, and I come to you and I say I'm reporting to you, Cspace, that this car is red. You're like, yeah, it looks red. Everything looks red. The scientific diagnosis, the car is red. Then it rains, and it was actually just covered in like jelly or some red substance, and it was actually blue. Well, like actually we were wrong. It's actually a blue car.
So I'd wonder who covered it in jelly, and why were you reporting that so quickly without like rubbing the car or seeing? Is it red? Should I, if I touch it,
wait?
will jelly come off?
Do you think that in the like 200 AD there would have been enough scientific tools and evidence to actually figure out, without the mathematical tools that a lot of people had, to actually figure out the Earth was round? And
Probably you could observe the clouds. You can see them rotating throughout the day, and the horizon. You can climb to a mountain and look. You can see the curve.
Okay, so
and hold on, and this now I want to go, because the CDC getting this wrong the first time. It's like 200 years ago. If the caveman Grunga Unga looks at a car, or what was the example? Just
no. It was like
no, because I understand what you're saying, but like I'm getting lost in the wordplay.
What wordplay?
Well, yeah, because you said the car had jelly on it or some crap, and then we were in the prehistoric era.
It doesn't even matter. The thing was, all the evidence that people had available at the time pointed to one thing.
Okay, I got it. So
yes.
Chieftain says the dinosaur's real. It's covered in jelly. Turns out to not be. Why would I trust a chieftain again after that?
Because they were able to access new scientific information. And they were
but if he went out of his way to give me wrong information, it's like if you ask someone, "Hey, how do I get to John's house?" And they're like, "Make a left and then a right," and then it's a right and a left. Like, why would I trust this asshole with directions?
Cspace, if this is the case, right? Then when you were telling me earlier, and I can check the VOD about like the CIA operation that Donald J. Trump was a part of, and I was like, wait. I think this is wrong. This isn't correct. I haven't been able to find any evidence to substantiate this. But then let's say you found out you were just wrong, Cspace, right? Yeah, that happens. There'd be new evidence presented, right? All the time. Have you ever been wrong, Cspace?
I've been wrong about other stuff.
So, okay. So, does that mean I should never trust you again because you were presented with new information and now you hold this new position?
That's a straw man, because I'm not an institution. I'm not chieftain of the caveman tribe, nor am I the CDC.
Institutions are also made of human beings.
They are, but there's more than one of them.
People.
There should be there should be deliberation, like, guys, are we really sure, if we're going to say 3 months from now or 6 months or 9, however many it's been, that 3 masks is better than 0, then maybe we should like run some tests. But they were just like, don't buy masks.
Number one, I believe it was specifically about the N95 shortage. Number two,
no. Well, I can confirm this was about surgical too. Every piece of PPE was being bought up. And they said, don't do that.
They were trying to, because they wanted to preserve PPE for medical professionals, because they were going to be the people who are on the front lines.
Interesting.
And they were worried.
So why did they wait for the spread to get so damn big before they said, all right, now put on your mask? They let everyone get the virus.
Why didn't Donald Trump go out and be more dominant about
No, not Donald Trump. The CDC, Fauci. Trump is not a doctor.
But then later, he was never on about the masks. He was never on about that.
Hey, it's a personal choice.
But he's the president. He should be advising people that this is the medically correct thing to do. Instead, he was saying that it would go away with the summer. Summer's come and gone.
To me, it's more like a safety thing. Like, if you feel better with the mask on, that's fine. My whole point isn't that the CDC is correct that more masks work, but the fact that they're directly contradicting themselves,
Well, the thing is, institutions, when presented with more information, adapt their conclusions. Not to mention, this was an international...
Can you repeat that?
Institutions and people... and institutions are made up of people, when presented with new evidence, change their minds and change what their prognosis, what their conclusions are. This has happened with every institution that's ever existed on the planet, ever. There is no institution that's ever existed, ever, that was never once said one thing, was then presented with new evidence and was like, oh, never mind, I was wrong. If this is your thing, if this is your position, then we can literally trust no human being or no institution on the planet. Because I'm sure
you should trust yourself first. But I have an example.
But I've been wrong. But I've been wrong too. And then when I was presented with new information, I changed my conclusion. Does that mean
that
you shouldn't?
happened? But that's because that individual was right.
Well, because another individual helped present me with information once more evidence was brought out that changed my conclusion.
Here's how I look at it, right? Let's say that there's an institution of mathematics and we're back in Greece. We're during, we're Socrates. And they say that 0 is the highest number of all. It does not get higher than 0. And then, you're like, okay, got it. So Dionysius or whatever said that 0 is the highest number. I'm going to use that in my day-to-day life. And then the next, 9 months later, they're like, actually, 1 is greater than 0. It's going to be like, okay. But I mean, that's not what you told me before. And also, you're like the math institution, but whatever, fine. And then 2 months later, they're like, by the way, 3 ones is more than 0.
Well,
and it's like, but you started us with the wrong base of information.
Look, number 1, okay, which is greater than 0. When we talk about this in this situation, it depends on how it unfolds. Like if they are maliciously just lying to the public to be like, you know what, it'd be funny to just see people not run around with masks for a little bit and catch COVID. If that's what's going on, then yes, that'd be absolutely horrible. There's no evidence of that. It was.
And we know that's not it though. Because they were hoarding it. You admitted that. They were hoarding it for the medical professionals. So obviously
they wanted masks for medical professionals because they're going to be the ones on the front line fighting the virus, which makes complete sense. If we had a limited amount of masks in this country, I would 100% say it should go to the medical professionals before everybody else.
But I feel like the front line people were the people who are working at the cash registers and crap. You don't develop COVID in a hospital. You develop COVID around other people. So they lied.
But they are literally, the medical professionals are going to guaranteed be working with people with COVID. You working at McDonald's, you're not guaranteed to interact with COVID people. If you are at a hospital, you are literally guaranteed to interact with people with COVID if you're working around COVID patients, which hospitals filled up with. So it makes sense to give them
service workers, because you could say that.
So when somebody catches COVID, do they go to A, McDonald's once they found out they've caught COVID, or B, a hospital?
Well, from the way this thing's been spreading, they go everywhere before the hospital. But what I'm saying is that
just answer my question. Answer my question. You just caught COVID, Cspace. When you caught COVID, let's say, oh God, this is bad.
I didn't go to the hospital because I chose to, by the way. So I still wouldn't have gone had I not had to.
Yeah, and you stayed home. You didn't go out and spread it, right? But if you had a severe case, where are you going? Wait, you caught COVID and you kept going to work?
People at work gave it to me, and then I probably ended up spreading it. Yeah, it was kids who came in without masks on, started picking a fucking fight with me.
And when you caught COVID, when you found out, did you go home and like?
I didn't know I had it until I was in the hospital. It's that kind of thing where you're just like, oh, I have a fever, and then you have the problems COVID brings
so
or
you did go to a hospital with COVID?
I didn't go because I chose to, is what I'm saying. I went because I had to.
Okay. But okay, listen to the question I'm asking you. Do you think hospital workers are more guaranteed to interact with COVID patients than McDonald's workers?
Entirely depends on the day and the patient and the individual. Because I'm telling you, look, you could say, look, if you work in a hospital around COVID patients, you're 100% going to be guaranteed exposed to it. But if I work in a McDonald's and I work around COVID people,
you're not 100%. You're not 100%. You could be 50%. Yes, it could, but not to the same rate as any hospital worker. Not at all. It's not the same.
Not all hospital workers.
Here's an example. Who do you think is more important to give gunshot wound training? A hospital worker or a McDonald's worker? Who's more important to have it? Not that it's good that it's good that both could have it, but what's more important?
A hospital worker.
Yes, but a shooting could happen in a McDonald's.
Yeah, a shooting could happen to McDonald's, but the thing is, a shooting doesn't spread like COVID-19 does. And the thing is, like, you can take that selection of people in a hospital who are exposed to it, and you could give service workers the same way.
The point I'm making is that you should give the people, hospital workers, who are going to be guaranteed to be dealing with people who have COVID, again, hospital workers, priority when getting masks over people who are not 100% guaranteed. They could. Of course, anybody could interact with people who have COVID, but when it comes to who gets it first, it should be the people who are 100% guaranteed to be working with people who've caught COVID.
All right, look, this is obviously just an opinion thing that we're both button heads on here, but I just got a message. I don't know if this is true or not, that I need to like hurry up. If that's the case, then I could just call back at another time. I'm not trying to
Who said that?
Torn 0023.
I don't know who that is, so.
Oh. Well, all right. Then I'll just go to 7, and then I'm gonna hop off because I have to have dinner and stuff. But look, my whole thing is that you can't say that just because someone works in a COVID ward at a hospital, they have more of a chance of being exposed than someone who works at any store, a Target, McDonald's, whatchamacallit, who has COVID people come in, because now their number is 100% exposing. Like you should, and the CDC lied by saying, oh, you don't need a mask. Like if you run into one person with COVID, congratulations, friend, you're now 100% exposed.
Yes, okay, you could run into one person, but at the hospital, you're guaranteed to run into one. Okay. Here's another scenario. Here's another scenario. You're in a battle. You're in Stalingrad, and the Germans have marched in. Dun 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 dun. Right? You're familiar with the Battle of Stalingrad?
Is that World War II?
Yes, World War II, Battle of Stalingrad. Okay, Nazi
sure.
Soviets, they were fighting, and you're a Soviet soldier, right? And you're angry that the Germans are here, and so your commander walks up, and you're like, okay, you and your friend over here, both are going to be going into the fray. This guy over here, he's pointing to you, is 100% guaranteed to run into the Germans. This person here is about 50% guaranteed to run into the Germans. Now, we only have one gun. Who should get the gun?
Sorry, I was reading messages. Okay, Germans 50%. You're saying that one person's more likely to meet Germans than the other.
Who should get the gun?
Obviously, I'm not an idiot. I would say the person more likely to meet the Germans should get the gun.
Which is just like the hospital worker.
It's not like the hospital worker because, again,
the same.
No, because it's not the same, because in a war, you have more enemies and allies. Obviously, you know to go after your enemy, you need to provide them with a gun. But in a hospital... Hold on. In a hospital, no one's your enemy. They're just patients. And it's the same as if they're in McDonald's or Target.
Well, I'm not saying that the battlefield is exactly like COVID. What I'm saying is that if you're more likely to run into a situation...
I'm saying they're different.
Yeah, of course they're different. It was just an analogy to isolate.
But I'm not saying you're saying they're the same either.
Yeah, it was supposed to isolate the problem, right? Where if you are more likely to run into an issue, which a mask can help you with, at one location, then that person who's more likely to run into people who have that.
They think a mask can help. Sorry, I just want to put it in the asterisk.
No, we know it'll help, right? The thing, all respected medical institutions said, you basically said you saw somebody's breath go through a mask on a YouTube video. That is not evidence that masks are not... It's practical
knowledge. You can see it. It doesn't matter what they say. They lied to you already.
Look, if I said, look, you say the earth is round, but I flew up to space and it was flat. There's my analogy.
Wait, you're saying...
Yep.
No. You're saying that I don't understand what you're saying, because you're saying
that
you're saying that you're like a scientist now.
No, I built my own space, my rocket. Are you familiar with Charlie Brown? The cartoon?
Yeah.
You know how, like, Snoopy got in his doghouse, like the Red Baron? I got in a fucking doghouse, and I flew up to space, and I saw the Earth was flat.
Well, here's where your argument falls apart. I don't believe
That's my personal... Yeah, you don't believe... And I don't believe you. And I don't think that it matters at all. I don't think it matters.
Why don't you believe me? I've literally said that you could just look it up and see it.
I could look up YouTube video, breath goes through. So what? If, of course, look,
that tells you what you need to know.
The point of the mask isn't to stop all air from going through. If it did, then you would suffocate. Then we would all be wearing plastic bags and be dead on the floor. The point of a mask is to stop the particles from going to the same length. That's why you're supposed to wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart. Because then, when you cough and stuff, the particles don't go straight into somebody else's face if they're 6 feet apart.
Though,
this is a combination.
The CDC now claims that you have to be even further than that, because in a room it turns into a big fart cloud that goes everywhere, and then everyone gets sick. They're changing their information all the time, Dylan. That's why I don't believe this crap.
I'm unfamiliar with the fart cloud CDC analysis.
It's the aerosol analysis, but look it up, shit particles, and apparently COVID worked the same way. You walk into a bathroom, you smell that, congratulations, it's now down your throat. Same with COVID-19. They say it becomes a fine aerosol, and then you breathe it in through your mask. It doesn't protect anyway.
It makes sense. And I assume that if you had pants on it would probably be more difficult for the fart particles to get into somebody's face. I'm pretty sure it'd be easier for you to have fart particles get in your area if everyone was fucking naked, right? Obviously.
Probably.
So if you're not wearing a mask, it makes sense that the particles from COVID would be more likely to get in your face. Masks aren't clothing,
though. This is a weird comparison.
Well, no, masks,
because you don't wear pants, you're a freak.
Masks are clothing. I don't care if it makes you a freak. The article is unprotected airflow. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but the thing is, this stuff still enters. There's no reason for it. Like, if I'm gonna get sick anyway, why am I wearing a mask? And why are you wearing a mask if we're just gonna get sick because we're both wearing masks? You know? Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
We don't know. But we don't know that. If we look at a lot of countries in the world, a lot of their population didn't end up catching COVID. We have 5% of the world's population, yet 25% of the world's COVID cases. And I think a lot of the reason because we didn't have a very smart culture around masks. We weren't prepared, and there was a lot of problems we faced. And I think one of the issues is that our Americans, a lot of which just didn't wear masks and didn't socially distance.
I mean, that's an opinion and a way of looking at it.
That is backed up by all statistical data. Like there's nothing of any respect countering this.
The people who lied in the
Not
first
only
place.
the WHO, multiple like institutions, multiple. This is any respected health professional will tell you this.
This to me sounds unfair because you just said any respected health. What if someone is a doctor or they're a virologist and they disagree?
Look, okay. So I think if somebody says, yeah, I'm a doctor, and they're a doctorate, and I don't know, like geology, then I don't really care what they have to say about masks.
But I don't know geologists. What I know is doctors who are getting destroyed in the public sphere for independently stating, like, look, what you need to do is you need fresh air. You need to get your immune system up.
I hope they're destroyed for saying such a thing. That is dangerous to the public conscience. I hope when they say stuff, people like, I don't respect you anymore.
That's horrible, though, to say that about someone just for having an opinion medically.
Okay,
they're a doctor,
wait, but there's people who have, there's Holocaust deniers. Just because they have a historical opinion doesn't mean I need to respect them and think they should get jobs at museums.
But they're not doctors. They're just people on the internet. I'm saying
but Holocaust deniers
have cancel them for that.
Well, I can cancel people for being Holocaust deniers and denying science.
No. I'm talking about the doctor thing.
Yeah, I can cancel people. Well, I care. They're danger. But I will say that when it comes to medical professionals, they're a danger to public health, and that's why.
I mean I don't care. I mean I don't like them. That's what I mean. Like I don't give a crap about their lives.
I don't like people who deny well-defined science. Definitely when people are dying because they are denying that well-defined science.
Then it's a good thing no one's doing that because the science is far from well-defined.
It is well-defined. It is this is like you saying like we don't know for sure that gravity is a thing. It is 100% clear cut. Because the thing is,
that's a philosophical argument, by the way. That's not the same thing. That's how you define gravity and who named it and all that stuff. Obviously if you drop something it falls. But what's not obvious is if you wear a mask, everyone around you doesn't also get sick. Not obvious. Unproven.
We are 100%. Look, there is as much evidence to prove that masks can stop the spread of this disease, which everybody would know through common sense that putting something over your face. By the way, if you're making an appeal to common sense, I'll make an appeal to common sense, even though it makes no sense. How are you going to tell me that
common sense makes the most?
The thing is, people will say common sense to just back up everything, right? Like they'll say something like, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. It's common sense, right? They'll just say that, and that doesn't. Then they don't need to explain their argument any further. That's the problem I have.
Well, those people are using it as a psychological crutch. I'm only talking about the observable.
The observable, but the observable is that when you wear masks, it makes it more difficult for your air particles to travel further. And then when you combine that with social distancing of around 6 feet. Then you can help slow the spread of COVID.
The issue is on top of that, there's other studies that also prove that even if that's true, that's incredibly dangerous and can even cause cancer by proliferation of microbes that get trapped in the masks.
This can cause cancer. Okay. From what institute? Please show me what institute said that me wearing masks is going to give me cancer.
I will send it. I have to go, but I want to come back and talk about this.
Okay, buddy. And can I bring a doctor next time?
If you know a doctor, I mean, I know people. All right,
okay.
Maybe I'll bring a doctor then too.
Okay, bring a doctor.
All right.
Battle of the doctors. Okay.